Hi everybody. I'm going to give a quick review. I've gotten a lot of new subscribers over since I started this channel. When I first started filming the N-scale stuff, I had like 6 subscribers because I was just on G-scale stuff, and I never knew it's not like I've grown into a Luke Towan, but people that are just coming on now maybe not understand everything. So I'm going to be real brief, give you a quick update. This is my first N-scale layout. It's 6 foot long switching layout. Didn't really have any staging on it. It was in the other room. Based on Chillicothe, Ohio, around 1980, and the east end of Chillicothe. So when I first started this, I would give like updates. Well, some guy just contacted me and says, "Hey, I found update 4. Where's 1, 2, and 3?" I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I didn't call them 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if YouTube will let me rename videos. I may go in and try, and I've organized them into playlists, and you can sort them by date added, so you can go by oldest and then progress on. But I didn't start making this until I was already well under construction with scenery and everything. Started filming the N-scale, so there was nothing about wiring or any of that stuff. However, if you're interested in that, you can find that in the Oak Hill playlist, because I started that from scratch. So I had this layout, which I thought was fairly done, and I went to my wife and I said, "Hey, how about if I build a layout in the other room based on Oak Hill, Ohio?" And she said, "Okay." So I started building this one, started building it in the garage, and I've got a playlist on how I built it, how I laid the track, how I wired the track, everything. Built the fascia, the valence, put the lighting on. That's all pretty organized. That's in the Oak Hill playlist. Then my wife came to me and said, "Well, why don't you move both layouts into the same room?" So that's a great idea. So what I did was I had to connect them. So I had to build a connecting section to it. So I've spent the last, few months trying to connect the two of them. And that's what I'm working on now, as you can see. Now, Chillicothe has a hidden staging yard down here. It's just a switching layout, so it has a hidden staging yard, an engine, and 6, 7 cars, something like that, will come out, and that represents the Chillicothe yard, which problematic by prototypical standards, because in reality, I'm going to step out in front of the camera, or behind the camera. In reality, this is the east end of Chillicothe, right here. Let me go on down. So in reality, this whole thing is the east end of Chillicothe. So this is Douglas Avenue. In reality, the yard is down here. There's one more, there's a big grain elevator, then there's Watt Street, and that's where the yard was, where the engines came out of. So when it was in the other room, I could do that. I could say I'm coming out of here, coming out of the yard, doing my switching, going back to the yard. It just worked out better this way to have to pretend that the yard was on the east end of Chillicothe, east of this switching area instead of the west. So these towns don't really fit together, but it's still going to be fun to operate. So I'm not going to get into all that right now. But those of you who are coming on to it, I'm still operating Chillicothe independently while I'm working on Oak Hill. Eventually, I will have a train come out of staging, pass through Chillicothe, and go to Oak Hill and switch. I'll be able to run basically 2 trains. I can have 2 operators. Or I could have 4 if I wanted to have a brakeman and an engineer, but I don't see that ever happening. I don't have a bunch of buddies around here that are into this. But I can have 2 operators pretty easy, myself and a friend of mine. So what you're seeing right now, the bulk of my videos are about Chillicothe. But Chillicothe is just about done as far as scenery. I still am doing some things here and there, and I talk about that. If I can, I will go in and I'll actually renumber the updates, like when I just work on scenery or something, so they're a little easier to follow, but they won't let me, I'm sorry. I'll try to do a better job moving forward, and Oak Hill I'm trying to do a better job on, but I haven't worked on Oak Hill hardly any at all except for this extension. So let me show you what I've done in Chillicothe today, and last night, well, this week basically. I try to read and respond to every comment. Whether I agree or disagree, I reply respectfully, and I try to respond to them. So there's a guy, I don't know, a month ago or so, he gave me a laundry list of stuff I needed to do. And some of it, I agreed with it, some of it I didn't. Anyhow, one of the things he said, your buildings are way too clean. And I agreed with that. So I have gone in and I've weathered wherever a little bit. Now, all these industries in the east end of Chillicothe, that was all farmland until after World War II. So there's no like 100-year-old brick warehouses here, you know, downtown industrial area, anything. This was all new industry after World War II. If I'm modeling around 1980, these things were 30 years old. So they weren't really super grimy. Now, wherever was a really nasty process. My brother worked there one summer, and they coated pans with Teflon, made non-stick cookware, and he's 11 years older than me. So he told me that he'd come home and he said he was working in a coal mine. And I believed him because I was like 8 years old. And he said he was working in a coal mine because, believe me, he was really nasty coming home. So wherever was a dirty manufacturing process. So I weathered it a little heavier because of that. In a way, I think it's too heavy, but you know, I'm happy with it. And so let me pan around here and go down. Again, my gimbal is not charged yet. So this was the yard office straight ahead of me that I just finished doing, and I just sort of dry brushed a little bit of weathering on it. And actually on the houses over here, I sort of dry brushed down a little bit. I'd already done the roofs, but I hadn't done anything on the walls. And so, you know, that they were white frame houses, you know, painted. So I just sort of dry brushed a little bit, make it look like there's maybe a little bit of peeling paint, some. So you might notice that a little bit. Let me move the camera over because the main thing I want to talk about is, well, let's go back this way. Yeah, that's be better. Miller distribution. So Miller distribution was probably the newest building on here. And so I weathered it pretty light, but a problem I had with Miller distribution was that I didn't have much clearance between the cars. I mean, if I had a long car at the siding, you would almost sideswipe it on the main line. I'll move this car out of the way. I only had two 60-foot box cars, but if one of those was there, I had to be really careful that the door was perfectly lined up where I could sideswipe it. So I decided to get rid of my 60-foot box cars, and because I thought, well, that's the easiest thing to do. Well, then immediately, within a week, I went to a train show and bought a 60-foot reefer, which is going to be delivered to Miller Distribution today on my next month. So okay, I need to really fix what the problem is. So I moved Miller Distribution, and I did a lot of scenery work there. So I'm going to take the camera off the tripod so I can get in close. Okay, here's what I did. I apologize for the shakiness. I'll try to stay as calm as possible. I moved it maybe, I don't know, an inch and a quarter to the right. And of course that left a big hole. So I got my static grass out, and I went ahead and static grassed it. Now I had static grassed that a little bit, but it's with the shaker, you know, wasn't very effective. So this time I got my real one out. While I was doing that, I went ahead and covered the old abandoned spur. I've got this abandoned spur here, and I placed an old 40-foot box car on it. It just looked like it was, you know, forgotten about back there. I did weather Miller. Basically, when I weather something like this, I take a can of Tamiya flat black, and I hold it about 2 feet away, and I just go by it. Just let it mist gently on it. If I don't like it, I go by it again. I just do it again until I'm satisfied with it. And it just adds a little bit of grunge to it. So got that done. But in order to move Miller, I had to also move my gates. Had to shorten that fence. So that was not a major ordeal, but quite a bit of work. But basically you can't even hardly tell now. Of course, when you do static grass on a completed layout, it goes everywhere. And so messing with it, trying to clean it up, I broke my wires back there and had to fix that. And I sucked up part of my fence and the travel trailer, trying to clean that up. So I had to fish those out of the vacuum cleaner. Usually when you pick up static grass, you put like a sock over the end to catch the static grass, and I did that. But you know, so I've saved all the static grass. When you get down where there's just a few pieces here and there, you want more suction. So I went ahead and I took the sock off, and that's when I got everything. Also, that tree on that abandoned building, I went ahead and took all the foliage off of it, broke it up a little bit, and made it lean more on the building. So I think that looks a little bit better too. It looks like it's sort of covered with vines, kudzu or something. So overall, I'm happy with the improvements. Can't think of anything else I did to Chillicothe, so I'll leave it there, but I will try to organize the videos a little bit better for you if YouTube will let me. But if YouTube won't let me, then search by date, go to the oldest first, and then you'll be able to find, you know, I don't really know if I said a layout update 1, because like I said, I was already, basically I was building these houses. I was off. I had torn rotator cuff surgery, and I was off. I built these houses one-handed at the kitchen table because my other arm was in a sling. I could sort of hold something with it maybe a little bit, but I needed something to do while I was gone, while I was off work. So I think that was the comment that the guy made. He found this video here. So apologize that I've tried to do better. And actually, I found when I was looking at his comment, there were a lot of other comments that I never saw, never responded to. So I'm going to go through and try to respond to some of these, because I appreciate every comment I get. And, you know, people have come up with some really good ideas to make the layout better. So thank you, everybody. I know it's just a bunch of talking, but hopefully you got to see some progress on the layout. And I'll show more of what I did on the river scene here a little bit, and then this weekend I'll have an operations video. So everybody stay safe.